Shake it off, shake it off. Heartbreaker's gonna break, 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 break. And the faker's gonna fake, 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 baby. I'm just gonna shake, 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 shake. Shake it off.
Dan, Radio Style. Hope everybody out there is having themselves, a wonderful day. That was awesomeness, right? That was awesome, wrapped up in a blanket of awesome sauce. It's not really blankets, though, right? Blankets aren't really sauce, no matter where you come from. Anywho, yeah, Dan, Radio Style. We're doing our second one of Agnes here. Agnes and I should say. This one we're calling, This Is What I Am When You... Wait, huh? Oh, This Is What I Am When I Finally Make Up My Mind. There's no way I'm going with that long a title. That's insane. That's like an hour and a half long. So it's going to be something about making up your mind. And that's probably what I'll call it. Make up your mind. There you go. How about that? That's an interesting idea. Just made that up right there on the spot. Fantabulous. That was Shake It Off, Taylor Swift. And, of course, going to be going into the video when I come out. Going to drop out with another really, really interesting, good song. I don't know. All these are good songs. These 4 songs, I'm doing 2 of these back-to-back right now because of the recording. I've had some family stuff go on, so I ended up having to cut out yesterday. I was trying to get one of these out. So... I'm going to try to, just take up business, a little something, something. Anywho, yeah, stick around. Got a great show with Agnes. It's kind of about making up your mind and all that kind of stuff. Check it out. We'll be right back.
I pulled the plug on where I was living and I thought, right, everything has to change and it's changing now. Right. And I just pulled the plug and then jumped and stitched the net on the way down.
Now, was that, do you think, was that an intentional part of this, or was that, I think, one of those little points that get filled in on the way to this manifestation being a little more...
Well, it was kind of, my hand was kind of forced, but as we know, we create everything. I was feeling more and more and more and more trapped, starting from December 2015. And, I came on a holiday. I only had I was at the point where I was just angry about my situation and feeling like the more I wriggled around, the tighter the straitjacket got. So I didn't ask my work whether I could go. I said, I'm leaving and I'll be gone for 6 weeks. They said, you can't go that long. I said, I don't care. I'm going that long. And if you don't like it, well, bad luck. And I was at that real defiant sort of stage,
You're
which
like,
probably
me,
doesn't.
I dare you.
Yeah, I dare you.
Yeah.
So I went back and I worked 2 weeks and my back was still really not good. So I thought, okay, well, that kind of tells me that I need to work on physical healing on my lower back and to recover. So I thought, okay, now my income, because I did have income protection insurance to cover me, but it had to be processed and there was delays and there was, me being angry and frustrated and feeling trapped. Of course, that got projected out and then it put a handbrake on all that going on. So it took about 2.5 months to get it going. In the meantime, I went, right, I am not paying this astronomical amount of money on where I live. And I really don't want to be, trapped and that all my savings goes down while I'm waiting for this to be resolved. So I got offered to house sit and I pulled the plug and I went to the house sit, and then finally all the stuff around, the injury was sorted. And then I thought, you know what? I'm out of here, because part of what I was allowed to do was go overseas for up to 3 months as long as I let them know. So I thought, okay, I can't work because I literally am not allowed to lift anything. So I'll do some YouTubes because I thought I've got time. And then I started to recover physically and do physio and all this stuff. But then I thought, hang on a minute, I'm actually free right now. Why don't I just go somewhere? You've wanted to be free for ages. So I pulled the plug and, the rest is history. I've been going back and forth. So that's how it all started. So it looked like something incredibly not good, but it became the absolute doorway into what I've created now, because I had one time, 2, the money finally came through, and then the feeling good kicked in more and more, and then it started to create, obviously much more freedom and much more opportunity. So
you bring up a couple, I think, really cool points, and I don't know if you'd be willing to talk on them more, but I think it would be useful for others. But I think one, it makes me think how this whole entire thing of manifesting to me is a process, a lot more than just I'm trying to create such and such. When you're trying to finally create a real significant something, at that point, it's now a process. It's a journey. And there's a lot of things that you're going to learn along the way. There's a lot of things you're going to discover and uncover, and a lot of wonderment. And I think, and through that process, I've found on many occasions, many of the more significant ones that have taken more time for sure, I have definitely found times where you do go through a bit of an anger period. And I was wondering if you'd almost maybe be willing to talk a little bit about how you were feeling at that time, because you talked about how you were projecting it forward. But I think that what's important to demonstrate is that how, when you're in that state and you're really nervous about needing money and being in that and being angry because it's not happening quick enough, how all of your thoughts and focus and what you continue to create more of, and eventually you've got to snap yourself out of it. And I'm curious if you remember how you did that, but that would be, I'm just curious if you would be willing to get into that a little bit more.
Yeah, I think, well, by then I was pretty exhausted because I'd worked 3 years, freelance, and I was working a lot in, doing a lot of interior design displays for a lot of big shops and all that stuff. So I was physically smashed, which of course then smashed me mentally, and then it broke me emotionally. So I was tired. I was so tired, but I couldn't sleep because I was too wound up and I was too tired and too manic. It was all that stuff. When you finally stop, you can't wind down. So I had that problem. And then I was feeling, the anger of, why do I have to keep doing a job that smashes my health? This isn't right. This is bullshit. How the hell did I end up here? I know about this law of attraction stuff, and this is my best effort. Angry at myself, angry at the situation.
All of these things, of course, are more self-fulfilling prophecies too, by the way, right? I mean, that's what I'm hoping people are hearing is you're walking through exactly where you were, and it's just like we just circle back around on the wagon of anger, and
we do,
and it spirals. But sorry, keep going, please.
Yeah, so so of course my mom's worried about me, and my friends are going, what the hell's going on with her? She's always stable, and and I was being really creative and making a lot of money at the time, and people were thinking, everybody would say, oh, I'd love your job. Yeah, but I thought, you guys aren't lifting wardrobes and big beds and chests of drawers, and and I was in my late 40s then, and I was nearing 50, and it was like, I don't want to be doing this. So I can see that it wasn't just anger, it compounded into resentment.
Right.
So in the end, no wonder something gave way, and it was my back, because, you get angry and then something blows out, and that's what blew out for me. That
are for sure what I've also noticed too at times is when and so this is, I think, also important in this whole process. I think when you hit that point of anger, it's not bad that you're angry.
No.
That anger is actually part of the process and how it helps steer you. I've kind of noticed in times where I think I'm getting off course a little bit. Yeah. I think sometimes that's when, like, moments of anger, moments of frustration, moments like where you start to get mad, and I think it's almost because you are kind of drifting away from where you're trying to go.
Where you're trying to go, and that you've got certain skills that you want to give, and you've got your ladder up the wrong wall,
right.
And that you need money to live, and you feel frustrated about, why do we always have to end up in these situations where we need money to live and we can't do what we want right now because it hasn't taken off yet? So I'm stuck with, okay, I can do what I love partly on the side, but I still got to keep the balls in the air and pay the bills and do all the reality stuff. So so I went through that. I wasn't just angry. I was rageful by the end of it.
And so that's the perfect place. Yeah, exactly. And that's a perfect place to remind people, I think, also, is that every one of us gets to that point where we question all this stuff, where we wonder how we're gonna move forward. I think I pretty much have kind of lost my train of thought where I was going with that, but because it's through this door was where you found your way out, and
I did.
Had something nice to say, well, whatever. Maybe it'll come back.
But no, it's true, Dan. It's like what looked like a total destruction that's where the little sort of plant grew out of the concrete, so to speak. I finally had to surrender. That's
Right.
the next phase. Once you get that angry and full of rage, and it builds and it builds and you get more and more tightly wound, there has to be a point where you hit the wall and surrender. And I think, okay, I surrendered, not fully all at once, but each time I was able to get on a plane and travel. And I was always only like 1 inch ahead of myself. People would say,
Right.
"Oh, so when are you coming back?" It's like, well, I'm only living 2 weeks ahead of myself.
Yeah.
I don't have a plan. They say, "Well, what are you going to do?" I don't know. I don't have a plan. I had no plan.
Right.
I had no nothing. All I had was, I just got to get through the next 2 weeks.
Right.
That was it.
Right.
And meanwhile, I've got time, so I'm YouTubing, and I'm listening to YouTubes because I need to feel better. So I'm listening to Neville Goddard, I'm listening to Abraham Hicks, I'm listening to Joseph Murphy, I'm listening to Louise Hay, I'm listening to Catherine Ponder, listening to all this stuff. But mostly I'm trying to put into practice what Neville's talking about, which is you have to live in the end result. You have to live in the solution. So I'm thinking, okay, what's the solution? The solution for me would be to go from Sydney to London, to the south of France, to see everybody I love, because I'm getting sick and tired of not seeing the people that I love. Years are going past. People are getting older. Some people are getting sick. Some people are dying.
Right.
So you miss out because you're locked into a job that holds you by the short and curlies, and you can't bloody get away because your survival issues of I've got to feed myself and I've got to have a bed to sleep in every night is always there.
Right.
So...
And I think the solution's kind of a big point on that for a lot of people, actually for all of us for that matter, is sometimes it's I think looking at it in a little bit of a bigger long-term sense. Like it's not just having Joe Schmo. It's like, all right, but what happens once you have that person, or what happens once you get this new job or this new house, like understanding that things are going to change within your life. Like how much of that have you actually imagined out? To really truly create the quote solution. And I think that's like I said, the solution to me is bigger than just that thing that we typically focus on. I want more money. I want just so and so. I want a car. Like when you just want a thing. But again, it's a process. And when you start going down these paths of manifesting larger and larger things, which you will, all of us are creating our realities. And eventually we start to get a little more daring and brazen. And I'm going to create something a little more fantastic than the time before because I can. I know I can.
Because I can.
Right.
Yeah.
And so a lot of it is the solution. And I think... Yeah, I just wanted to state that. I thought that was a beautiful part of your story. And when you really, like, it's almost, not to borrow a Christian terms, but it's almost like your come to Jesus moment. Like you've come out of the darkest night of the soul and you're like, ta-da! And you're like, oh my God, I get it now. I get it. I finally, and life had led you down that path. It was, I think it's beautiful how it tends to work out.
Well, I just think, in the last, really, since December,
2015,
because the thing was, see, I had a buffer zone of while I was getting paid from my income protection insurance, because that's why I kept going back to Sydney and going back to London, because every 2 months I had to go to the doctor, I had to get checked out, I had to adhere by what I needed to do for the policy, and also I needed to make sure that from a doctor's point of view that I was actually improving, and that the back was getting stronger and all that stuff. And I thought, I thought I can feel my own back, but still to be assessed.
Right.
So you can see where you're at. I thought, okay, I will get assessed and then I will keep, doing what I need to do. So as I was traveling back and forth, I thought, oh my God, I've started to do what I wanted to do. I've gone from Sydney to London, and then I've gone back, and then I've gone again another 2 months later. My thing was it was the end of 2015. I said to myself, I'm going to have 4 trips in 2016. And then I laughed out loud because the other part of me just went, yeah, right.
Exactly.
Like, how are you going to do that?
The brain chatter.
You can't even get away for 2 months because your work's giving you shit.
Right.
How do you think you're really going to get away for 4 weeks, 4 times in a year? So I went, and then I said to myself, that doesn't matter. Because that doesn't matter. You've done this enough times now to know you set your intention and then you let it go. And you believe, blind faith. That's how you do it. You keep that line of energy between you and the thing you want, and you focus. And you don't let all that peripheral staff get in and pollute what you're trying to do.
And
So
I think,
yeah, after
I was
Yeah,
going to
go
say, I
ahead.
think the part of this, and I think it's beautiful, is okay. So after the solution, now comes, I think, what is very common is the determination, where
Yeah.
determination phase. Like, I am now determined, and when
Yeah.
you finally hit determined, if you can ever
Yeah.
remember how determined feels and
Yeah.
how you were emotionally wired at the moment, how you felt emotionally, how you were envisioning that which you wanted.
Yeah.
Because I believe truly that when you're in that phase of this
Yeah.
whole process, you're probably the most powerful creator that you can be.
Yes,
And then I
'cause
think we
you've-
start to
you've
get into more.
stopped
Yeah,
the
exactly.
wishy-washy thing is
And
gone.
it's very intense. It's very emotionally.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of strength behind it, and then from there it's kind of, I think, more of a long-term longevity.
Yeah.
How long can I keep running? But that we lose that first determination, and that's why I'm saying it's a process. And this so solution, then comes this determination. Now you're like making it happen. So you're like in mid-flight, going, "Holy crap! I've actually
Yeah.
manifested this."
Yeah.
I hadn't even noticed.
Yeah.
So I
But
think
then I had the thing of, okay, this is going to run out. And then what are you going to do? Then you got to have another plan. This is only buying you a little bit of time. You got to work something out. Otherwise, you're going to end up going back to a job or back to,
you'll have to
you
choose
know,
again eventually.
you're going to have to face that bridge again
Right.
at some point, So, I was just doing a lot of stuff that I was trying to manifest myself and talking on YouTube and, just anything that I would find useful, I would share it or whatever. And also I would share the manifestations from other people and manifestations that I currently was living as well, bit by bit by bit. And, so I was able to share the 4 trips in 4 years story. And I was able, because each trip I thought, oh my God, I've just done 1, I've just done 2, I've just done 3. Oh my God, I've only got 1 more. So it was like all of a sudden I'd seen this bold statement of, I'm going to travel 4 times in 1 year, fully paid, no debt. And then me laughing out loud at myself thinking, yeah, who the heck do you think you are?
Right.
Because I had that moment of, that's, I remember you said, Dan, in one of these things that we did, every time I start to think too highly of myself.
Yeah, exactly. Well, life
It's
knocks
like,
me down.
whack.
It's like, well, bam. Nice try, buddy.
Yeah, so I was thinking exactly the same.
Little taste of humble
you've
pie.
just done. Yep. I
Yeah.
was thinking, okay, when's this gonna,
Right.
I've done this, I've pulled this off, but I'm flying by the seat of my pants. And
Well, had you told many people that you were actually going to do it 4 times, or was it more of a, like, just yourself?
no one
Yeah,
at
see, that's
all.
when you're good, though. When you do it that way, you don't have to worry about it, because
Yeah.
now you're not, it's not an ego thing. It's not braggadocious
No.
or whatever the heck. I
No.
swear to God, I think that's a made-up word recently, but whatever.
Yeah,
Braggadocious.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Actually, I was watching a show the other day and she used the word braggosaurus, which made me
Nice.
laugh.
That's pretty good. I like that.
Actually, it's that American show called Millionaire Matchmaker. She talked
Nice.
about this guy being a millionaire and he was a braggosaurus.
A
And I thought, I love
braggosaurus.
that. I'd never heard that.
That's pretty good. I like that. That's very creative. Very creative. All right. Hope you guys liked that. There's certainly more where that came from, obviously, because I'm about to go in and do it. We're going to be going out with a great song. But, if you'd like to contact me, please feel free to do so at Spirit Radio Dan Style. Let's try the old email. Try this one. How about danradiostyle@gmail.com? And that'll be a better way to go about it, because I was doing that one for like 3 years, so it's stuck in my head. But anyway, danradiostyle@gmail.com, and I will be happy to deal with those emails. And, of course, feel free to comment on the videos until I get ridiculously huge. That's going to be very, very easy for me to maintain, and I'm enjoying it. So it's fun to interact with all you guys out there and, just see what all you got to say. So feel free to leave comments. We're going out with a cool song, and this one's by Anna Kendrick, and I don't know if it's from the movie specifically or what. And I can't remember the name of the movie off the top of my head right now. But the song is When I'm Gone. It's a very good song.
When I'm gone.